Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 1998 horror sequel, Bride of Chucky. The film is directed by Ronnie Yu and it stars Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif, Katherine Heigl and John Ritter. Now the film initially focuses on Jennifer Tilly's character, Tiffany. She is an ex-girlfriend of Chucky when he was human and the serial killer. She is obsessed with him. And she finds a way to get hold of the remains of Chucky from the last film. She reenacts the ritual to bring him back to life. Once he's back alive, Chucky, he does what Chucky does. Ends up killing Tiffany and then brings her back as his bride. So we now have two psychopathic dolls. We've got Tiffany and Chucky. They decide basically to go cross-country. They trick somebody into driving them cross-country in the back of a van. And this young man is in love, very much in love with Jade, played by Katherine Heigl, who goes cross-country with him. They intend to elope, get married, so on and so forth. But along the way, every time they stop, wherever they stop, Tiffany and Chucky cause absolute chaos, mayhem, and murder along the way. Right, what are my thoughts on Bride of Chucky? Well, as you know, if you follow the content, I have been watching and reviewing the Chucky franchise. I have mentioned before, but I'd only ever seen the first Chucky. I'd not seen any of the sequels. So these are all new to me. So what are my thoughts really on Bride of Chucky? Well, I think it's clear that the franchise at this point is, pivoting. More into parody, I think, at this point. You know what I mean? It is definitely much lighter in tone, leaning heavily into one-liners, catchphrases, that kind of stuff. It's definitely completely, fully self-aware at this point and fully understands that Chucky is, the star of this franchise. And they obviously at this point are adding Tiffany to the party. So, I mean, if you go in kind of understanding I think the whole story between Chucky and pursuing Andy and, trying to, do that ritual to turn himself back human and stuff, it's run its course over 3 films. I think it needed to kind of evolve a little bit now, the franchise and the films. And what they do here is quite simplistic, to be fair. It's not really much in the way of a story, but the real, I suppose, attraction of this film is, the fact that he's now got a bride, Tiffany, and they are both kind of killing together now at this point, you know what I mean, and throwing one-liners back between each other, and it is quite fun. It is quite amusing, and it's an entertaining watch for the most part. This it's just very much, if you like the later Freddy films, when the Freddy films started to kind of almost like where Freddy wasn't particularly scary anymore. He was just one-liners and he was clearly the star of the film, and you know what I mean, it was all about him. That's where we're at now with this franchise. It's very, very clear, it's very, very simple to see, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable, I suppose. I mean, if you're a fan of Chucky in this franchise, it's almost a no-brainer really to kind of go in this direction. And the director, Ronnie Yu, is the guy that brought us Freddy versus Jason. So, I mean, he has got that, he's that kind of director in a sense of, he's really, he kind of puts a real, almost like a blockbuster polish to it sort of thing. So it feels more like a popcorn film, this, than like a straight horror film, if that makes sense. So, I mean, there are some fun moments here. It has to be said. I mean, the effects again are really on point. I mean, all the way through the franchise, I've been impressed with the effects. Again, here I'm impressed with the effects. I think the voice acting from Brad Dourif and Jennifer Tilly is both really, really good. It looked like they're both having a lot of fun, really, with it, with the dialogue. And it's got some fun moments as well. I mean, like at the start of the film, we get this police officer going into like this evidence locker, I think it is. He's looking for like Chucky's remains, but in this evidence locker, you've got, you know, Jason's mask and Freddy's glove, and you've got, I think, the crate from the horror film that'll come back to me probably at some point. But I mean, it's got all these horror icon things in this lockup, which I think is really nice. Like, it's tipping its hat to other horror franchises, and it's setting the tone very, very quickly for this film. You know what I mean? It's very self-aware. You've got Rob Zombie doing the opening song as the credits are rolling when the film starts, which is really cool. And, you know, I mean, for a while, from what I've read, this was Brad Dourif's favourite Chucky film, until another one came out a few years later, sort of thing. But up to this point, this was the most favourite one he'd done. And that doesn't surprise me, really, because, like I say, you could tell he was having a good time, certainly with a lot of the voiceover stuff. And whereas the film lacks an awful lot of substance in regards to, you know, depth or dialogue or anything like that, it's not that type of film. It just isn't. And, you know, the romance between Katherine Heigl's character and the Jessie character is null and void, really. You're not really that fussed about these two young people who... It's quite fun in a sense of they both think they're both serial killers, if you like, because everywhere they go, things happen and people die. So Katherine Heigl thinks it's Jessie that's doing it, and vice versa. He thinks she's doing it. So they both think they're psychos. And that's quite fun for a little bit of time. But ultimately, you know, it doesn't last, and you know, everything is revealed in regards to Tiffany and Chucky. But that's about as far as they go, really. You know what I mean? They're not particularly interesting characters. It was really nice seeing John Ritter here, even though it's more of a glorified cameo, really, as this really horrible police chief who's the guardian of Katherine Heigl's character Jade. And it's got some fun kills in this, don't get me wrong. You know, there are some fun moments and inventive kills, so it delivers in a lot of different areas. Just don't go into this expecting to take it seriously, because you can't really. And it knows that. It has got its tongue firmly in its cheek at this point, this franchise, and it's just kind of like, let's have some fun. And if you kind of got that mentality, then you probably will have some fun with it. I didn't dislike this one really at all. So that's my thoughts on Bride of Chucky. Let me know your thoughts on this film and the Chucky franchise in general. And I'll be back here with plenty more content very, very soon.